All right, so everybody get ready, because today we are taking a deep dive into this Project Stargate thing.
Yeah, it's been everywhere in the news lately, and to be honest, it's a lot to take in. This brand new company is backed by some seriously big names. We're talking OpenAI, SoftBank, Oracle, and even MGX. And their goal is to invest like $500 billion. That's $500 billion into AI infrastructure right here in the U.S. And they're not wasting any time either. They're kicking things off with $100 billion investment and plans to build 20 huge data centers, and they're starting in Texas. But what does this mean for you and me? Is this just a bunch of tech buzzwords, or is this actually going to change how we live our lives?
Oh, it's not just hype. This is a really big move by the U.S. to become like the world leader in AI,
Yeah.
especially with China. They're breathing down our necks. OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT in Delhi, they've been pretty outspoken about this. They even published a policy paper telling the government to put everything they've got into AI if we want to win this race.
So it's like a space race, but for AI. Sounds
Mhm.
intense. Yeah, exactly. And the stakes are enormous. Whoever wins this AI race is probably going to control everything, from the economy to national security.
So you're saying it has a huge impact. And speaking of impact, one thing Project Stargate keeps saying is they're going to create tons of new jobs,
Mm.
like hundreds of thousands. But I think a lot of people are worried that AI is going to, take away jobs that people are doing now. How do you explain that?
Well, yeah, that's a valid concern. And honestly, the effect on jobs is probably going to be a mixed bag. Remember that Foxconn factory deal? It was supposed to create thousands of jobs, but it totally flopped.
Yeah, and that was a bummer.
It just shows that we need to be realistic. Sure, Stargate will definitely create jobs in things like AI development and building those data centers. But at the same time, we also need to be ready for job losses in other areas. As AI gets smarter, it could start doing some of the jobs people do now.
So there's opportunity and potential disruption all at once. A lot to think about there. But what about the good stuff? Like how AI could revolutionize healthcare? I've been hearing a lot about that.
That's definitely one of the most exciting areas of AI right now. Larry Ellison, the CEO of Oracle, and Sam Altman from OpenAI, both of them have been talking about how AI could cure diseases, make medical treatments personalized, and even stop people from getting sick by catching things early.
Ellison even talked about using AI to analyze blood tests and create custom mRNA vaccines in just 2 days. Imagine that. No more waiting around forever for test results or wondering if a treatment is actually going to work.
It would be incredible, right? And it fits perfectly with what OpenAI said in their policy paper. They specifically said healthcare is one of the biggest ways AI can help humanity.
Okay, so healthcare could benefit a ton. But what about Oracle being involved in all of this? They're not really known for AI, are they? So why are they so into Project Stargate?
Well, they've actually been working with OpenAI for a while, providing cloud infrastructure, but this is a much bigger deal. And it makes you wonder how Stargate is going to handle all the data it collects, especially with Oracle's background in databases.
Hmm, that's interesting. Something else that's interesting. Why isn't Microsoft in charge of this? I mean, they pumped billions of dollars into OpenAI.
Right. Well, their partnership with OpenAI is still going strong. They still have exclusive API rights access to all the intellectual property, and they'll get a share of the money OpenAI's technology makes.
So they're still in the game, just not running the show with Stargate.
Looks like it. Microsoft had the right of first refusal to provide infrastructure for OpenAI, but that's been changed, which is why Oracle could jump in. It might be that Microsoft couldn't keep up with how much computing power OpenAI needs.
Interesting. Especially since Microsoft just announced their own $80 billion investment in AI infrastructure.
Seems like a strategic move to stay competitive with Stargate. And then there's the wild card in all of this, former President Trump.
Yeah, I was super surprised to see him supporting this. He's really close with Elon Musk, who has his own AI company, XAI. So you'd think he'd be backing XAI, not OpenAI.
It's definitely a twist. Maybe it means his priorities have changed, or he sees that OpenAI is in the lead right now.
And Stargate wants to bring manufacturing and jobs back to the U.S.,
Yeah.
which fits perfectly with what Trump always talks about.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny that even though Trump and Biden have totally different politics, they both seem to agree that AI is super important for the future of America.
Trump's even keeping some of Biden's AI plans going, like reserving federal land for data centers and pushing for clean energy to power them. Looks like AI is something they can agree on, even though they disagree about almost everything else.
So we've been talking about like the big picture stuff about Project Stargate, but let's bring it down to earth for a minute. How could this huge investment in AI actually change things for everyday Americans?
Yeah, when I hear AI revolution, I instantly think about robots and those self-driving cars, which are cool, don't get me wrong, but I get the feeling that AI is going to have a much bigger impact than that, right?
Oh, for sure. Think about how much AI is already a part of our lives, What you see on your streaming services, all those recommendations, the spam filters that keep all that junk out of your email, even that face recognition that unlocks your phone, it's all AI. And Project Stargate is like turning that up to 11. It's going to bring AI into pretty much every part of our lives.
So are we going to have robot butlers and flying cars soon?
Maybe not that crazy, but it'll be a huge change. Imagine your doctor being able to tell you exactly what's wrong with like perfect accuracy, using AI tools that look at your medical history and your genes. Or picture your kid having a totally personalized education plan, made just for how they learn best, with AI tutors guiding them along the way. And think about a financial system that's way more efficient and secure, because AI is doing all the fraud detection and risk assessment. That's the kind of impact we're talking about.
Okay, now that's a future I can get behind. But wouldn't all this AI stuff make things super expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a $500 billion investment.
A lot of people think that, but it's not really true. Yes, the initial investment is a ton of money, but the whole point of Project Stargate is to actually make AI cheaper and easier for everyone to use. Like, think about computers. Years ago, they were really expensive and not that powerful. Now they're everywhere and they can do so much more. Stargate is trying to do the same thing with AI. It's going to go from being something only big companies and governments can afford to being available to everyone.
So instead of just the big guys, everyone will have access to AI.
Exactly. And that's where the real potential is. Small businesses using AI to run things better, artists using AI to take their creativity to a whole new level, students using AI to get personalized learning. The possibilities are endless.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. But let's be real, there are going to be some downsides too, right?
Right.
We talked before about how AI might take over some jobs.
You're right. It would be silly to think that this kind of massive change wouldn't come with some bumps in the road. Job displacement is a real issue, and we need to be smart about how we handle it. Governments and businesses need to invest in retraining people and creating new opportunities for those whose jobs are affected by AI.
So basically, we need a whole new set of rules and guidelines for this AI-powered world, right?
Absolutely. And we need to start having those conversations now, before AI becomes so deeply embedded in our lives that it's too late. Transparency, accountability, and making sure AI is ethical, those things need to be at the heart of Project Stargate and any AI development going forward.
Okay, so we've got the amazing potential, the potential problems and the need to do this responsibly. But let's get a bit more specific. How could Stargate impact different parts of American society? Like, let's start with healthcare, since that seems to be a big focus.
Okay, so think about a world where AI can look at medical scans and be way more accurate than any human doctor at spotting problems. That would mean catching diseases earlier and getting better diagnoses. Imagine having AI virtual assistants that can answer your health questions anytime, schedule appointments for you, and even keep an eye on your vital signs from anywhere. And picture AI figuring out new treatments for things like cancer and Alzheimer's. These are just a few examples of how AI could totally change healthcare.
That sounds almost too good to be true, like straight out of Star Trek. But what about education? How could AI change the way our kids learn?
Personalized learning is the key here. Imagine AI systems that can figure out what each student is good at and where they struggle, and then create lessons just for them. Lessons that adjust to how they learn best and how fast they learn. And AI tutors could give students feedback and help them when they're stuck. And picture this virtual reality classrooms, where kids could be transported to ancient Rome or the bottom of the ocean. It would make learning so much more exciting and engaging.
Man, that would have made my history classes in high school way more interesting. So we've got healthcare and education. What about the economy? How could Stargate impact businesses and jobs?
Well, this is where things get really interesting, because we have amazing opportunities and potential challenges all mixed together. On the one hand, AI can automate a lot of tasks, which means businesses can become much more efficient and productive. They could use AI to streamline everything, improve customer service, and even invent totally new products and services. This could really boost the economy and create new jobs in AI development and implementation.
So more jobs in the tech world. But what about jobs in other industries?
That's where the challenges come in. AI could start doing some of the jobs that people are doing now in areas like manufacturing, transportation, and even customer service. We need to be ready for these changes and start retraining people so they have the skills they need for this new AI-driven economy.
So it sounds like the message is be prepared, not terrified.
Exactly. And we also need to be careful that AI doesn't make existing inequalities worse. If the data used to train AI systems is biased, then the AI could end up being biased too, and that could lead to unfair outcomes in things like hiring loans and even the criminal justice system.
That's a really important point. We can't just assume that AI is automatically going to be a good thing. We need to be thoughtful and intentional about how we develop it and use it.
Hmm.
We've talked about a lot, from that global AI race to how this could affect jobs and whole industries. But I think there's an even bigger question here. What does Project Stargate and this huge push for AI mean for us as humans? Like, is it going to change how we see ourselves and our place in the world?
That's a really deep question. AI is definitely making us think about some really basic things about who we are and what our purpose is. I mean, what does it even mean to be human when machines can do things that we thought only humans could do? What happens to our values, our hopes, our sense of self when AI might be able to do so many things better than us?
I have to admit, it's kind of scary. I love the idea of AI curing diseases and making our lives easier, but I also get this weird feeling of like being insignificant. Is that strange?
I think a lot of people feel that way. It's totally normal to feel uneasy when you're facing something as powerful as AI. But I think it's important to remember that AI is just a tool, a
Yeah.
super powerful tool. Yeah. But it's up to us to decide how we use it.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's about figuring out how to use AI to make us better humans.
Exactly. Think about it this way. AI could free us from all those boring, repetitive tasks, and that would give us more time and energy for things that really matter, like being creative, having relationships, exploring the world, learning new things. AI could help us solve huge problems like climate change, poverty, and disease. It might even help us understand ourselves and the universe better.
Okay, there's definitely a more optimistic way to look at it.
Yeah.
But how do we make sure that AI is actually used for good? I've seen enough sci-fi movies to know that things could go really bad.
That's why we need ethical guidelines and regulations. We have to be proactive and shape how AI is developed and used. We need to make sure it lines up with our values and that it's helping humanity. Transparency, accountability, and fairness. Those have to be built into every AI system.
So this is about way more than just the technology itself, right? It's about choices.
Yeah.
Choices we make as a society about how we're going to use AI.
Exactly. Project Stargate is a massive undertaking, and it has the potential to change the world in ways we can't even imagine yet. But we need to be both excited and cautious. We need a clear vision of what kind of future we want to create, and we need to be committed to using AI for good.
I like that. A force for good. It's easy to get caught up in all the hype or the fear around AI. But in the end, it's our responsibility to make sure this technology benefits humanity.
Couldn't agree more. This is a pivotal moment in history, and we all have a part to play in shaping this AI-powered future. It's time to have those tough conversations, to question everything, and to make sure AI serves us, not the other way around.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into Project Stargate. I hope you, the listener, are feeling a bit more informed and maybe even inspired. Remember, the future isn't set in stone. It's up to us to shape it, to use AI wisely, and to make sure it makes us more human, not less.
As always, we encourage you to keep thinking about these things, keep asking questions, and have those conversations about AI and its place in our world. Because ultimately, the future belongs to all of us.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning and keep questioning.